intelligence type, which we got logical, mathematical, which is reasoning, and numbers, which is what people mainly be talking about. All right. You got linguistic, which is language and communication, which is different ways of speaking. Like basically getting somebody to understand something without logical or mathematical. For example, I'm using linguistic intelligence instead of logical mathematical because I know linguistic does better than logical mathematical because I'm talking. If I was right, I would probably have some words up here that will connect dots in your brain. Alright, but if I'm speaking, I gotta use my linguistics. So you gotta have these different intelligence worked out so you could be able to write something, say something. Because there's people who can write but can't talk, and it used to be me. But I have to realize I write very different than I talk because those are two different muscles, way two different muscles. That's what you gotta understand. So after linguistic, we got spatial, which is visualizing, designing. That is that imagination. That's that spatial intelligence where you could just feel. It's like that's where I personally feel like that's where you get them downloads. You got to use all these different intelligences together. You feel me? We got musical intelligence, which is rhythm, sound, perception. You feel me? Sound is an element. So when you use rhythm, that's like when you playing music to just turn up before, you know what I'm saying? That's what music is for. You know what I'm saying? That's an intelligence. That's what is used. That's why they push certain artists in certain areas to keep certain areas a certain way. Unless, you feel me, you change your music and now your mood change and you wonder why. Even though on the basic level we know music influences people, but we not understanding is intelligence. But when you understand, okay, this is intelligence, I can use this tool to guide me. Like for the forecast, I said if you listen to certain musicians or something like that, it will get you on that frequency automatically. Like me, if I want to get in Gemini energy, I'm finna listen to some OT7 Kwani or something. He a Gemini. So I'm like, bet, I'm gonna listen to this nigga. You feel me? And he get me in that mode naturally. You feel me? So you just gotta understand how to work with energy. That's all we doing down here in the first place, is just working with different energy signatures, different aspects of the mind. But you gotta work out all these muscles. We got bodily, which is kinesthetic, which is movement and control. So this is where basically like one, your nervous system gonna have to be regulated for this to even work. You gotta do slow movements. Cause if you know what I'm saying, that like, I'm not gonna say fast movements don't work, but how about this? Your gut instinct when you feel something wrong. This don't feel right. That's kinetic energy right there. It's just moving all around you. For example, your blood moving through your body is most likely pushed by kinesthetic energy, intelligence. This is all intelligence. When you do your research, water is really intelligent, very intelligent. All these different elements around us, earth, water, air, fire, spirit, ether, whatever you want to call it. Intelligence. Different intelligences explaining the source intelligence, right? Which we call God or whatever. But it's really just source intelligence. Alright, so when you connect the intelligence to source, that's where them downloads come in easy, right? It's like plugging into the wall. Source is the wall. There's so many plugs, right? These plugs is different intelligences. Don't even know if I said the word right, but you get what I'm saying. We got interpersonal, which is understanding others. This is where empathy comes in. That's an intelligence. Not a lot of people have empathy. You are very intelligent if you have empathy, because a lot of people don't have that. You got intrapersonal, which is self-awareness. A lot of people don't have that. That's intelligence. Shadow work, that is intrapersonal. That's giving yourself basically a cheat code when you're self-aware and you understand others. I'm not gonna lie. This is a cheat code. That's as within, so without. Right there. We got neuralistic, which is understanding nature. If you was neuralistic, you would understand what's going on is supposed to go on. It's supposed to go on. All this. You shouldn't have a worry in your mind if you tap into nature to understand, oh, this is supposed to happen. What? Clean up crew. Fuck you talking about? But we got more intelligent types that people may be unaware of. I said emotional intelligence, which is reading, managing, and empathizing with emotion, which is yours and others, which is basically really studying emotions. There's so many different emotions, emotional spectrums that we have that, you know what I'm saying? I'm not even going to say I'm up there with them other ones that we were just talking about, but I'll say even emotional intelligence. I'm not bad, but I'm not like a master at emotional intelligence. I may be like, why is this nigga like that? But then, you feel me? Like my mom, you feel me? The females around me, they got that emotional intelligence. So I'm like, what's up with him? They gonna be like, oh, it's that. I'm like, oh. Because I got different intelligence. I understand like that. But if I don't have that intelligence or that knowledge of what's going on, or that, because me, I'm learning how to be more emotional. I'm not going to lie. So I don't have that emotional intelligence. But to work that muscle out, I got to be in emotional situations. You feel me? So it's just things like that. We got energetic intelligence, which is sensing energies, emotions, and vibes in people, places, and decisions. Common in empaths, healers, and intuitives. So basically, when you have energetic intelligence, this is like where spiritual people come in. You know what I'm saying? The spiritual community. They have energetic intelligence that they work out constantly. You know what I'm saying? But then when you use all this holistically and use all these intelligences for the right current moment, that's where you're perfect. You're never going to be perfect, but to be perfect is to be balanced, really, to be regulated, to be aligned. So to be aligned, you need to have your intelligences aligned, which means they need to balance out. Not one over the other. Emotional intelligence don't override energetic intelligence and vice versa. You feel me? You need to have both of them. You have all these for a reason. You have all these energies within your body for a reason. To balance them, to regulate, to use what need to be used for the moment versus what's not. You know what I'm saying? Your body don't use certain things all day, but we got somatic intelligence, deep awareness of the body signal, tension, intuitive through sensations, gut instinct. So somatic intelligence kind of go in with the kinesthetic, I feel like, personally, but I could be wrong. But me, I'm like, that's your body, so I'm connecting it like that. I'm learning with y'all, bro. But when you learning, you gotta be able to learn for yourself, and it gotta make sense for you. The only reason it makes sense for me is somatic is your body. You don't gotta connect it, but I'm connecting it to make it easier. You feel me? So we got spiritual intelligence, which is insight into meaning, purpose, metaphysical, and the unseen world, and how the conscious works. So that could be, I'll call that occult intelligence, but spiritual intelligence, you know, same thing. We got moral, existential intelligence, understanding of right, wrong, ethics, values, and the deeper questions of life. So this would be more like the why type of intelligence. Kids have this. You know, when kids be like, why? That's that moral intelligence. They trying to understand the moral of this. What's the moral of the story? Why are we doing this? That's an intelligence. Asking why. Anybody who literally disowns or don't let you question them, or any system that says you can't question it or ask why, if anybody feels threatened by a why, they're trying to control you. Simple as that. Because why can I ask a question? Alright, so when it comes to these things, you gotta understand, you need to understand that morality isn't supposed to be like a rule book. It's based on, why did you just do that? Like, if I punch somebody in the face, to get the morality of it, you gotta ask me why I did that. You gotta ask him why he got hit in the face, and then you could come up with a moral compass of what's going on. Alright, next we got systematic intelligence, which is the ability to see how parts relate to the whole, patterns, ecosystems, networks, engineers, strategists, and social architects. But basically, this is the systematic intelligence. This is how you be able to see systems, patterns. Like, okay, this happens after this happens when this happens. People think patterns is okay, on, off, on, off. You need to go deeper in the pattern. Be like, this happens because this is where the moral intelligence come in. You gonna need to use both of them to be like, okay, this happens when this happens, but why does this happen, causing this to happen? That's when you get deeper into it, and you're gonna be able to connect the dots. But you gotta decode the surface level shit first. You know what I'm saying? So this is just different intelligences. We got metacognitive intelligence, which is thinking about thinking. Self-reflective intelligence that tracks your own cognitive patterns. Metacognitive intelligence is something that I do profoundly. Alright? And you hear the word meta, right? I forgot what meta even means. But we know meta is also a company too. You see why that word is used a lot around this time. But metacognitive, the meta part is it means after. It's a Greek root word that means after, beyond, with, or change. It's often used in English as like beyond or transcending. You know what I'm saying? Change or transformation. So metacognitive intelligence is thinking beyond regular intelligence, and it's saying there's more to logic right here. It's saying thinking about thinking. Why did I think that? If you get a journal and you go through your journal, you know what I'm saying? You go back a few pages, you're going to be like, why did I think that? And you're going to answer it if you listen to yourself. If you listen close enough, that internal voice going to answer it. But you may not hear it if you really don't try to listen. But you can ask yourself why, and you will know why. You know what I'm saying? So we got social strategic intelligence, which is able to read a room, influence dynamics, play roles, or guide outcomes without being obvious. This is used by leaders, diplomats, and manipulators alike. So this also could go into the over strategic class, what I'm about to get into more. But this is basically, strategy is reading a room, understanding who's up here and who's down here. You need to just know basic. You just need to be observant first. You can't be strategic without being observant first. You need to know the dynamics of a situation or a relationship or something like that. You feel me? And the last intelligence that I got is symbolic or archetypal intelligence, which is understanding symbols, myths, and meaning systems, which is key for artists, mystics, psychologists, and diviners, people who do divination. So this is like if you do tarot or something, if you read cards, before you get to that level to be able to just read cards and you don't got to use the basic level book word shit, you feel me? When spirit really just talking all day and non-stop, like shut up. When they get to that level, you know what I'm saying? Before you get to that point, this is where you gonna have to read the book. Or you gotta understand what this symbol means. And this is what I mean by decoding everything in life. You gotta decode what everything means for you. You know what I'm saying? That's gonna give you that symbolic or archetypal intelligence workout. You feel me? You work these muscles out. I'm gonna keep it hot. This wasn't even meant for the class, but everything I just said will help you get rid of that over strategic tension already if you just understand the different intelligences within your mind. And the mind is not the brain. Your mind connects to all this. It connects to all this. This part of my mind too. All that. All this connected to my mind. You feel me? I placed myself here. You feel me? You got to understand the connection and everything, alright? But intelligence is a skill. And the skill is a muscle you must exercise to grow the muscle, or it will shrink to original size. And the phrase, I am rusty, embodies this awareness of a muscle shrinking. So you saying, I'm rusty with this, that's you saying you fell off. That's you saying your intelligence is going back to basic knowledge. You know how the planets up there have reversals, how people go, you know what I'm saying, people in life go backwards. Intelligence does as well. You could learn something and unlearn it like that. What do you think reprogramming is? So you got to understand these different concepts for yourself to even understand the frequency behind the words I'm even saying. There's a lot of people I already know in this class. I feel it, and I'm not even live. I feel just the resistance barrier. There's slight But that's a learning resistance barrier that I feel. It's not even a, oh no, it's I know like it's that my intelligence know what he's saying, but my logical mind probably gotta process this for a couple days. That's why you gotta sleep on shit, cause your logical mind's slow. Your subconscious mind, your spirit. Oh, I already know. Oh, you know, when that gut instinct's like, oh, I know it resonated. That's your intelligence. Alright, so when you look at it in this aspect, it's like, okay, I understand what intelligence versus logic is. I know I need to use my intelligence more than my logic right now. Logic is really meant for refining and shit, like after a review. Okay, I'm gonna use my logic, and even then, I still use my intelligence because you use rational. You know what I'm saying? Logic is just a habit, a thought form, a thought pattern. Logic is just like you need logic when you learning something. But after you get past that initiation learning phase, that's when, okay, I don't need this basic logic no more. I need the intelligence behind this logic. What's the energy behind this logic? What's the intelligence behind it? It's the same thing. You know what I'm saying? So when you looking at things like that, you gotta know, you gotta go deeper into understanding things. It's not just look at the surface level and let it trigger your emotions. You're supposed to let it and go through. Fuck your emotions. It's supposed to go all the way into your heart, and you gonna discern what's going on. You know what I'm saying? So it's basically just that. But we gonna go into the OST class.